After working in personal injury for over 2 decades, there are misconceptions I think come up all the time when it comes to handling a personal injury case from consumers. Here are the top 5. Number 1 misconception is that these cases are easy and I can handle it. Usually this comes from people who hired a personal injury lawyer in the past and they followed real closely and they learned how to handle that case in 2008 or in 2001 or in 2010 and think, hey, it's 2024, 2025, I should be able to handle this on my own. The fact is that the laws keep changing, process keeps changing, procedure keeps changing. You would need to be a lawyer to keep up on all those changes. I'm here to tell you, you can't, and even if you do, you're going to either undervalue your case or you're going to get stuck somewhere and not know how to get out. The second misconception is I can call a lawyer anytime. I can file my lawsuit anytime. That's categorically false in a personal injury action in Florida, and what you thought was the time limit a few years ago has recently changed. For the longest time, you had 4 years to file a lawsuit, a third-party lawsuit, when it was somebody else's fault that you were injured. It's now 2. That alone is something that a lot of people don't know. But the timing for lots of things, nursing home actions, medical malpractice actions, cruise ship injury actions, these all have different timelines. We can get into those timelines in separate videos, but the point is, don't assume that you can file whenever or at a certain amount if you're not a lawyer. You don't need a lawyer for minor injuries if that's not a case. That's false. If you're damaged in any way physically, you need to file a claim. Insurance has been paid for to compensate you for your damages. What a lot of people don't think about is how those damages, even if minor to you now, might affect you moving forward. Maybe there's something with your spine, although it feels minor now because you're 28, but when you're 58, things might get a little problematic. And so you have a viable claim. Also, there are damages that you may have suffered that you have not even thought about, and you can lean on our firm, for instance, and our decades of experience to give you examples of other claims that have been successful and the types of damages they had that you hadn't thought about. Just because it came from my mouth as opposed to yours doesn't make it any less viable. Fourth misconception about personal injury is that only physical injuries are compensable. That's categorically false. You can have emotional injuries, but you can also have financial losses, right? You could have an interruption in your business. You could need to hire help at home because of your injuries. There's lots of things there. You know, every case is unique. That's one of the great things about personal injury is when it's done properly, you really get to know people personally and find out how their life works, how things tick, and you can start to figure out where there's gaps, where a compensation needs to occur. It doesn't have to be a physical injury. Often it is, but cases are much more than medical bills. When you talk to your personal injury lawyer and all they talk about is medical bills, you need to be asking questions. Why are we only talking about injuries? There's so many other things that I need to be compensated for. Your car, for instance, if you lose your car for a month, you should be compensated for that. The last misconception, and this is a really recent misconception, is that you could use AI to replace consulting a lawyer. If you go on the internet and look enough, you're going to see where lawyers have gotten in trouble on relying on AI. And you can only imagine the problems when a civilian would rely on AI. They don't have the context to know when something doesn't look good. You know, I always talk about the smell test. If something passed the smell test. As a consumer, your sniffer is not going to be as good as ours because we know when something doesn't look right or smells bad, right? Please don't use AI or robots or anything like that for your personal injury claim. You know, you could get yourself in trouble with insurance fraud and all sorts of things because the AI robot doesn't care and you don't know where it's getting information from. If we can help you in any way with your personal injury case, please reach out. We'd love to help you. Don't steer wrong on these misconceptions. I'm glad I was able to tell you about them. Don't let them interfere with your judgment. Call us. We'd love to work with you. Thanks so much.